Every single kid in school has been introduced to the metric system in one form or another, namely being the 9mm. So who's to say Americans don't use the metric system, though? Oh, they do. Hold on, it's the new Black Plague. Yeah, it is the new Black Plague. I want to know what it's about, though. Like, should I be worried? Should you be worried? Because I know, like, 3 people have died. And is this the new COVID? Are we doing another pandemic, guys? I don't want to do lockdown again. That was boring. Let's see what this is. Just a news report from today. Hantavirus horror solved. This is how a dream trip turned into a floating nightmare. If that's not clickbait, I don't know what is, man. Investigators reveal real outbreak origins. Rats! Isn't rats the outbreak origin, though? As far as I have learned...
Health officials now believe they may have traced the source of the deadly Hantavirus outbreak linked to the cruise ship MV Hantavirus.
Hold on. Brought by rats, just like the Black Plague. Exactly. So does this mean our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ is coming? I think not.
According to investigators cited by the Associated Press, the virus likely originated during
Associated Press is a good news source, though. They're neutral. Like, what good news sources are out there? I mean, other than Reuters and AP News, who's neutral in this war of news? I'm curious, guys.
Watching excursion in Argentina, weeks before the ship even set sail. Authorities say a Dutch couple, among the first victims, may have contracted the infection while visiting a landfill site in Ushuaia.
Wait a minute. Let me hear that again.
Among the first victims may have contracted the infection while visiting a landfill site in Ushuaia in mid-March, an area...
Let me just unwrap that for you. Two Dutch people, alsjeblieft, were the first victims. They contracted the illness from visiting a land site while they were on a landfill. While they were on a cruise? Was that like they stopped on the cruise to visit a landfill? Is this like the ultimate within dumpster diving? I'm very curious here. No, nothing ill. No, I shouldn't speak ill of the dead. That didn't sound right to me. Who the fuck goes birdwatching a dump site in Argentina? Exactly. You want to know who wants to know the answer to that question? I do. This guy.
Area where rodents are known to carry the virus. Hantavirus, as per...
Look at that. It's so friggin' cute. You just want to pick it up and just mush. And it's got like the deadliest virus known to man. This thing will
terminate you.
Health officials, is typically transmitted by inhaling particles from infected rodent urine or droppings.
People aren't sniffing this, right? This is like this happens by accident, right? Tell me it happens. It's not like you pick it up and then you're like, no, this is by accident, right?
But there's a major complication. Officials had previously stated that the region, Tierra del Fuego, had never recorded a case of Hantavirus, raising questions about how the virus appeared. Hantavirus urine had previously stated that the region, Tierra del Fuego, had never recorded a case of Hantavirus.
Now, there's something about her voice that I can't tell. Either it's a really... Give me your verdict here. Does she have a really good AI voice? Or is it a bad microphone? I think it's kind of a mediocre microphone. Check the Epstein Island vid and videos. No, I haven't. I haven't seen that anyone posted anything there, really. I think Corsair posted one. But I'll take a look after this, unless it's long.
Raising questions about how the virus appeared there in the first place. The couple then boarded the MV Hantavirus on March 20 for a 35-day expedition. The 70-year-old man began showing
35
symptoms by early
days.
April.
That's a long
Fever,
time to spend on a
headaches,
cruise ship. But who goes on these cruise ships? It's mostly, it's mostly the elderly, right? And they're the ones who are most prone to this illness. And how many people are still stuck on that boat?
Abdominal pain, which later escalated into acute respiratory distress.
Yeah, sort of like COVID in its
He
early
died
days.
on April 11, but his infection was only linked to Hantavirus weeks later. In a troubling development, his
So
body...
in the meantime, he'd been on the cruise for a while, spread the illness. He passed away, and then they learned about it. So by then, he's probably donated hantavirus to a lot of passengers.
remained on board the vessel for nearly 2 weeks. During that time, his wife also fell ill.
Yeah, of course.
She later traveled to South Africa with his body and died in a Johannesburg hospital on April 25th.
Rest in peace. The outbreak spreads on board. Hold on. Third part is censored. Almost 1.5 hours. That's I can make an 8-minute video last for half an hour, right? I can't do a 1.5 hour video.
What followed was a chain of infections that alarmed health authorities. At least 8 additional passengers and crew members fell sick in the days that followed.
Listen to this bit. Is it a good AI voice or a bad microphone? What do you guys think?
At least 8 additional passengers and crew members fell sick in the days that followed, and by May 2nd, a 3rd death was reported on the ship. The situation escalated further when 3
I don't think anyone else has died, though.
infected passengers from the UK, the Netherlands, and Germany were evacuated from the vessel off Cape Verde. According to the World Health Organization, 2 of them were in serious condition and required urgent medical care.
Hold on, you think this whole boat thing is fake? What makes you say that? I'm curious. Or reported with a Temio microphone. Yeah. I'm going with mediocre microphone. Shared it for off-stream purposes, unless of course you want to share it. Oh, I love watching documentaries and stuff when I'm working. So that's absolutely a good option. But I know I hadn't caught up on that.
Images from the evacuation show patients in full protective gear being transported under strict precautions. Among those evacuated was also the ship's doctor, who had previously been in serious condition, but is now reported to be improving, as per Spain.
Hold on. The Simpsons predicted this one too, says Posse. When did they predict this? Because the Simpsons have predicted, they made a lot of claims that turned out to be true. Hold on. Listen to how they're reporting about it, or read up on Hantavirus. It rarely transfers from human to human. Yeah. But that's I don't find that very strange. Like if it's rare, it doesn't mean it's impossible. It's also incredibly hard to get. Yeah, it's like the opposite of COVID, but supposedly way more lethal. But really, rarely doesn't mean it can't. Agreed. And my biggest question, though, is why would they fake something like this? That's like, who would make money off this? Like, just follow the money, Who gains if for faking something like this? That's a curious story. Gene Hackman's wife was found with the 2 after they died. Oh, really? I didn't know that. Trump isn't involved, so it isn't fake. That's a good take, man.
Health Ministry. Despite the spread, officials say those still on board are not showing symptoms, and the overall risk of transmission remains low.
Yeah, the overall risk of transmission remains low, and I don't know how many. Is it like 5 or 6 people are infected next to the 3 people who passed? Season 23, episode 19. I want to double check that after this video, just for fun's sake.
The ship is now expected to dock in Tenerife, but that plan has sparked a debate in Spain. Canary Islands President Fernando Clavijo has raised concerns about potential risks to residents, while central government officials have pushed back, calling those fears, quote, irresponsible. end quote, according to El País.
But okay. This interesting. They're sending the ship to Spain now, and Spain is saying no, they don't want to take it. But like, aren't there human lives on board? I mean, fair enough. You want to protect your country from a pandemic, but I'm sure you can set this up in a way that is safe. You know, to get people into quarantine so they don't have to live on that ship, because I don't think that ship has the proper facilities to feed and home everyone for an extended period of time. Okay, it's a cruise ship. Maybe I just said something incredibly stupid. But it doesn't seem like a fitting place to treat people who are ill and properly quarantine them, though. Am I right about that? Okay, so of all the people on board the boat, why is only one person saying anything about this online? The American dude. Yeah, I've only seen that video. That's the only thing that's gone viral, though. I don't know. Is there anything else by all evidence I've seen, you're right about that. There's only one dude saying anything about it. Another diversion. But what would it divert from? This I don't. Maybe I'm the stupid one here, because I haven't seen this news story just blow completely up. This isn't like when they said aliens to excuse Trump from the Epstein files, you know. Why is this a big deal if it's Hantavirus and it's hard to get and transfer from person to person? Why won't anyone take the boat if it's Hantavirus? Okay, I agree with your questions. I agree, but the Spain is now explaining its reasoning.
As the investigation continues, authorities are still working to confirm how the virus first emerged in a region with no prior cases, and whether this outbreak could have been prevented.
I think there's something else behind. Fair enough, man. I'm always open to a good conspiracy, because some conspiracies have turned out to be real, actually. But I don't see it in this one. But I'm open to accepting evidence, though, as always. But I think it's a very, very strange case. The thing is, I haven't followed the news very closely. I just know that there's been a boat with illness. I had to Google what the illness was called. Even didn't know that. I had to Google how bad it was. Been like 800 cases of hantavirus in 30 years. And this, I don't know. I feel like, are we talking? We're still talking around 10 cases here on this boat. So it's still, I consider that pretty rare, though, and still pretty par. And you know, there's always. Don't forget, evolution exists and viruses mutate, you know? So it can adapt. Why is this a big deal? I'm not saying it's nothing going on, but I find the hantavirus explanation vague. That's fair, you know, that's fair. Maybe it's something else. About hantavirus. Okay, let's hear something about that.
Data annotation, great experience so far. No
He's going to tell us about the Hantavirus. I'm sorry. If I ever start making money on Twitch, I'll get YouTube Premium, I promise.
It is a virus. Its main host is in rodents, rats and mice. It's actually a family of viruses. And I think about half
more than one virus.
Also have been associated with human infections. Each of those viruses tend to be associated with different rodents. So some are one, I think.
So there are a bunch of different viruses, and they mostly live in rodents. Hold on. I think some Dutch female steward got virus as well, and they evacuated patient zeros. Yeah, did they mention the numbers yet? I haven't caught on to that.
Associated with the brown rats, and others that are associated with different mice species. They you acquire the infection typically from breathing in aerosols that are contaminated with rat urine and feces.
He said this so much prettier than you. Quote Ragsocks. In order to get hantavirus, you have to breathe in particles from urine or poop from rodents, which mean you inhale particles that then give you the virus. And he said, what did he say?
Aerosols that are contaminated with rat urine and feces.
Aerosols contaminated with feces. No, of course he's a doc. He's a doc. He speaks pretty. But I still that's what I'm that's one of the things I question when I start watching this video. Rag sucks. Like, how do you breathe in poop? Are people sniffing it? I don't know. Imagine contracting Hantavirus and get called a zero. Dude, that's a double loss. That is a double loss, man. Then you develop the virus inside you, and then your lungs stop absorbing air. Is that how it kills you? Dude, that is awful.
Rodent urine and feces. And so one of the riskiest things is cleaning out rats' nests from your house. Yeah, that's a well-known risk.
Yeah, but obviously I understand though that, like, if you are cleaning out a rat's nest, or if you are in a junkyard and there is rat shit there, you don't have to physically lean down to sniff it. Like, there's seen that video, like how they how poop spreads in the air when you flush with no closed toilet seat. You know what? We'll take a quick peek at that. The fuck am I supposed to Google here, guys, when I'm looking for that? Hey, I like this guy.
This is what happens when you flush your toilet. This experiment is wild. They put glow-in-the-dark dye into the toilet and then flushed it, put a measuring sensor up, and turned the lights off. Imagine still sitting there, you're bathing in your own beep. If this is not the case to close the toilet lid when flushing, I don't know what is, because you're...
Close the toilet with shit. That's my point. But I don't know. So I can see how that can some become part of a contaminated aerosol, as this gentleman says. And that's how you die. That is so nasty, though. Like, I can think of a million ways a million other ways I'd rather die, at least.
It depending on which type of the virus infects you, it generally causes either a pulmonary syndrome, a chest infection.
Why does my
as per health officials, is
fucking YouTube do this? Does anyone know why?
Yeah, that's a well-known risk of the virus infection. A pulmonary syndrome. It generally causes either a pulmonary syndrome, a chest infection, and the mortality rate from that's quite high, up to about 30%, give or take.
So chest infection, high mortality rate. Hold on, guys. Normally, if you get some of the stuff in your system, your body combats the virus. You don't really feel anything, but in rare cases, humans get it. Yeah. But, like, if it's... What about the dynamic here, though? Transfer from humans to humans. Because viruses evolve incredibly quick, right? That's why you're supposed to finish your penicillin cure. Because if you don't, like, some small number of that virus will survive, mutate, and evolve to be resilient to it. That's why we're facing penicillin resistance in viruses now. When I brush the fudge dragon off the toilet, I normally open my mouth and stick out my tongue. Because I don't give a fuck, says someone else, not me. You're hardcore. Got out to bed, says Posse. Wake up in 5:45. Thanks for entertaining stream, man. Good night, lads. Round earthers are wrong. Good night, Posse. And one more before you go. One more. Rag Socks, look at this. Posse got his own Pepsi can. Earned it from all of the Pepsi photos. Your can. Good night, brother. I'll see you around. It's always a pleasure chatting with you.
And a renal hemorrhagic fever with renal syndrome, which...
What does that mean?
Mortality rate's a bit lower, maybe about 10%.
What is a renal syndrome? Quickly. What is a renal syndrome? A renal syndrome is a collection of signs that is caused by kidney dysfunction. Okay. Yeah, kidney dysfunction is pretty bad. Then you'll need dialysis, I guess.
It doesn't appear to spread person to person.
But why is it spreading aboard the ship then? Is my question. All right, so in case of with a virus which rarely affects humans, which rarely transmits from one person to another, it we're still led to believe that this rare virus is all of a sudden running rampant on a ship that no one wants to handle. All right, I see your basis for a good conspiracy there. You know, I do see that. There's no doubt about it. All right, cat's got my tongue a little bit. Let's hear what the good doc has to say. Maybe he has a reasonable explanation.
There have been some suggestions that it might, but other researchers have cast doubt on that evidence. So it's not clear. If person-person spread does happen, it's probably quite uncommon.
Quite uncommon.
There's no specific treatment. It's supportive. So if you've got renal failure, it's ensuring you have dialysis. And,
so just like COVID, you know, there's no cure. They just make sure you're nice and comfy until you get really annoyed, basically. Or to the unfortunate souls that passed. I know a lot of people did.
If you've got pulmonary disease, it's ensuring that you've got your airways protected and you've got artificial breathing and that sort of thing. Yeah, absolutely. The World Health Organization has particular responsibilities for cruises.
Hold on, unless there's a major gangbang going on that ship. There's does the virus spread that way though? That would be a more viable explanation. Who knows? I'm up for a good I'm up for a good conspiracy on this one. I actually believe that there's an illness on the ship though, but You opened the door enough that I'm willing to say, maybe there's something going on here. All right,
between member states, you know, so it produces guidelines.
And those poor people being sent back and forth though, with no port.
I can't remember the exact details now, but it has some statutory responsibilities that in these areas. So it is, and it's actually. The WHO has actually already submitted a statement, released a statement to say the fact that they're supporting the investigation on the cruise liner. Although I don't know exactly what they mean by that. What
supporting the investigation? Hold on, I think they're ill on the ship, but I don't think it's Hantavirus, says Rag Socks. Well, what is it then? Like, what would be the option? Like, what's the alternative here? And why would they lie about it? That's where I'm stuck, because I don't see anyone gaining by spreading falseness around this. I don't see it, at least. What do you see that I don't?
The nature of that support is, but yes, they're certainly aware and are responding to it. I think they will be looking at it, yes. And I mean, to be honest,
but if it's so incredibly rare, that I'm curious about. Is it virus evolution? Because it's it must be spreading between humans now. Not everyone has gone to each their own rat dump to explore the rat caves, right?
I can't remember hearing about an outbreak of hantavirus on a cruise ship before. It is a worldwide infection. You can pick the infection up in this country. So they have.
But okay, he hasn't heard about an outbreak on a cruise ship before, but hantavirus is a worldwide infection. And I gotta add though, like, isn't a cruise ship the ideal place for an illness to spread? Like, there's a lot of people living in very close proximity to each other, probably doing a lot of shared activities, you know, and like I said, like, the majority of people who go on cruises, they are elderly and more prone to this illness. So it's like, even if it's a rare disease, you're in a lot of cases, sort of, let's say that the target for the disease that will be easy pickings is constantly available. Am I onto something? Well, it's not very transmittable from human to human, and they know it is Hantavirus. Why are they refusing to help out the people on the ship? Why don't they send doctors and medical personnel to the ship? And why don't they let the ship dock and let the people go to hospital? Those are the same questions I'm asking. I'm asking, why don't they let the ship dock? And I think that's a very important question, because if it's not that dangerous to humans due to the lack of infections, I mean, there's a lot of ways to secure this. You line up the rubber, you make the rubber tents, you put on your hazmat suits, and you take care of those people, right? Isn't it that simple? Or am I dumb? I think it's that simple. 100%. A cruise ship would be the perfect place to spread. I think so. Like, if you're starting a zombie movie, it's just starting a cruise ship. Then the cruise ship lands, and then all the zombies just roar. I'd love to see that movie. Someone make that movie. Markiplier, you catching this?
Infections acquired in the UK, but they're pretty uncommon. Estimates are there's about 150,000 infections globally annually from hantavirus.
So there's a little bit more infection here than I was led to believe. 150,000 a year, but that's a very insignificant number compared to the human population, though. But still, well, exactly, Cal, because that's what what would we expect from our governments, right? To get help. Now, you and I, we don't see eye to eye about government, but I don't expect any help from the government at all. They fail in most stages. There are a few cases where they actually help, though. But in a case like this, though, yeah, I would agree that you would expect the government to dock the ship and help the people, because they have the money, they have the power to do so, and they have the knowledge to do so. One way or the other, but in this case, no government wants to take the ship. Which ports are denying them, though? They were denied in Spain. Where else were they denied? Maybe that's something they mentioned in the story. It doesn't quite fit with my memory.
So it's not an incredibly rare. It's an uncommon infection, but it's not an incredibly rare disease. And cruise liners are well known for being associated with outbreaks of infectious disease.
So far, Spain and Greece. Greece has a shitty economy, though. Like sky-high unemployment rate, at least. And I just don't think they want the economic burden. When it comes to Spain, though, like, what kind of excuse do they have not to take him in? Okay, let's Google it. I won't Google. I'm going to take a shortcut today. Why is Spain and Greece denying the Hantavirus ship? I don't know what it's actually called, so we're calling it that, but Perplexity will understand. The reason I use Perplexity is because it cites news sources, though. And Spain's Canary Islands are assisting the ship because local officials say they do not yet have enough medical information about the outbreak to judge... Outbreak to judge the risk to residents. So basically keeping their own people safe because they don't really feel like they know how bad it is, how bad it is for the local populace. Nothing about Greece, though. The ship right now is anchored up outside of Tenerife. Poor people, man.
Disease, but primarily person-to-person disease. So, norovirus, influenza, and COVID were all well-described outbreaks associated with cruise liners. And often with a cruise liner, you tend to have a predominantly elderly population who may be more at risk of severe disease. You have people who may well have pre-existing medical conditions as well, so that when they do get sick, they can.
Hantavirus, as per health.
Can someone explain to me why my friggin' YouTube does this? I didn't push a button, it just jumped.
And medical vulnerability. Yeah, it doesn't have to be physical contact, because they get more severe, and become more ill and as well. So often with a cruise line, you tend to have a predominantly elderly population who may be more at risk of severe disease. You have people who may well have pre-existing medical conditions as well, so that when they do get sick, they can become more ill and you can get more severe, and more higher death rates in that sort of population,
of course,
because of their age. And
that happens when you get old and frail, though, unfortunately.
And medical vulnerability. Yeah, it doesn't have to be physical contact, because this spreads through the air. So
let's chat for a bit. Play Dark Country. I'm not saying it is a conspiracy, but I'm just saying that I smell bullshit about this story, says Freakout. It's not logical, and it makes little sense if it is what they say it is. I'll agree, to this not making sense completely. I'll also say that my own medical knowledge, though, is lacking. But you know what? I need a good conspiracy. We need a good conspiracy, because that's fun, really. But I really hope it's just the Hantavirus, because if that has such a small % chance of actually spreading from person to person, great. So it seems like a very mild thing to lie about, if I'm being frank there. And that makes me glad. But I don't see what they would be covering up, though. That's where I fall off. What would they cover up with this? Second time in my life I heard about the Hantavirus. First case was Gene Hackman's wife, and now this. I've actually never heard about it prior to this ship, ever. He was also known for using scare tactics for clicks. I'll admit to that. They absolutely are. I mean, newspaper is sort of okay, though. Newspaper, generally speaking, is they live off clicks and sale. They want to sell papers, and what sells? Well, a sensational story, for one thing, will sell. But there are some. Now, no one's too reputable to be taken down. No one is. But AP News, come on, they've been so stable and so solid for so long. They have a good name that they need to take care of. Reuters as well. It's like, if something weird comes out about this, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't. But that's not my first conclusion, at least. Both Gene Hackman and his wife were found dead in their home at the same time. Yeah. It could have been, though, that they were dumpster diving and came across some magical rat poo-poo. Maybe it was. Let's hope not. Let us absolutely hope not.